Is it really true that goldfish forget in 3 seconds? That's actually a myth. Despite what cartoons and common beliefs suggest, goldfish have surprisingly good long-term memory. Research shows they can retain information for up to 5 months. In labs, they've been trained to push levers for food, recognize shapes and colors, and even return at specific times for feeding, showing an internal clock at work. They also remember tank mates and human caregivers, learning to associate certain people with food. When put in mazes, goldfish can recall the path to rewards even weeks later. Far from being the forgetful fools of the fish world, these creatures have complex neural processes and a keen sense of curiosity. So the next time someone jokes about a goldfish's short attention span, you'll know the truth is far more fascinating. Why do snails bury themselves in the ground? The snails we often see after rain don't just dig into the soil for fun, it's their way of surviving extreme conditions. When it gets too hot or dry, snails create a special mucus plug to retain moisture in their bodies and bury themselves to endure the dry periods. This process, called estivation, is a type of summer hibernation that allows snails to survive harsh seasons. Have you ever stopped to think that opossums fake their deaths? When threatened, opossums go full method actor. They enter a trance-like state called thanatosis. It's not just playing dead, it's a full physiological shutdown. Their heart rate drops to near undetectable levels. Their bodies go limp, and they emit a foul smell from anal glands in their mouth that mimics the scent of decay. This gruesome performance convinces many predators to lose interest, assuming the corpse is either rotten or diseased. The opossum may stay like this for minutes or even hours, then slowly recover and creep away. It's an involuntary response triggered by fear, not a conscious decision, but it works like a charm. Millions of years of evolution have turned this peculiar act into a highly effective survival strategy. Why did the famous bridge in Venice almost sink? The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and one of the most recognizable bridges in Venice. It began to sink shortly after its construction in the 16th century. Venice itself is subject to constant flooding, so the bridge has gradually sunk over time. Engineers have conducted numerous restoration works to preserve it, but Venice still faces the threat of sinking, and the Rialto Bridge serves as a reminder of the fragility of this magnificent city. Caffeine. Energy or illusion? Caffeine is the most popular psychoactive substance in the world, but it doesn't actually give you energy. Instead, it blocks adenosine receptors in the brain, preventing them from signaling tiredness. It's a kind of trick that makes your brain feel alert and awake. What's even more fascinating is that caffeine's molecular structure is very similar to that of adenosine, allowing it to take the place of this neurotransmitter. This clever process helps us wake up in the morning and stay alert throughout the day. Now imagine, it's all just a game of chemistry. Did you know that scorpions can glow in the dark? When exposed to ultraviolet light, scorpions begin to glow bright blue-green. This happens due to a substance in their exoskeleton that reacts to ultraviolet light. Scientists are still debating why scorpions have this ability. It might help them hide from predators or serve as a signal to other scorpions. Whatever the reason, it's one of nature's most astonishing phenomena. Did you know that cats can make over 100 different sounds? Cats are true vocal virtuosos. They can meow, purr, hiss, growl, and produce countless other sounds, each carrying a specific meaning. Unlike dogs, who mostly bark, cats use a whole range of sounds to communicate with humans and each other. This rich vocal repertoire helps them express their emotions, moods, and desires. If you have a furry friend at home, rest assured they'll find a way to talk to you about their plans. You won't believe how birds use balloons to flirt. Male frigate birds take courtship to sky-high levels, literally. During mating season, they inflate giant red throat sacs, gular pouches, to the size of a football, turning themselves into floating heart-shaped beacons. They gather on island breeding grounds and flap their wings, shake their heads, and emit drumming calls to stand out from the crowd. The females fly overhead, scanning for the most vibrant, symmetrical, and rhythmically pulsating display. The brighter and better the balloon, the higher the chance of mating. This competition fuels one of the most dramatic mating rituals in the animal world. Scientists have found a direct link between pouch size and mating success, making this flashy signal a powerful evolutionary advantage. Can it be true Saudi Arabia imports camels from Australia? Yes, it's no mistake. Camels, once brought to Australia from the Middle East for farming and transportation, are now being exported back to Saudi Arabia. Camels have thrived in Australia's environment, and their population has grown significantly. Now they are exported back to the Middle East, where they are used for similar purposes. Surprisingly, Australia is now a global leader in camel exports. Who would have thought that these desert animals would complete such a unique historical cycle? Amazing but true, ants are unrivaled heavy lifters. Some ants can lift 50 to 100 times their own body weight, the equivalent of a human effortlessly raising a small car. This superhero strength comes from their body structure. Small size allows a high muscle-to-mass ratio, and their exoskeletons distribute weight with near-perfect efficiency. When working in groups, ants become even more impressive. They coordinate with pheromones and touch signals to form living transport systems, moving massive objects across long distances. Leafcutter ants, for example, create highways through forests to carry pieces of vegetation back to cultivate underground fungus farms. This fusion of biological strength and teamwork has even inspired engineers to develop ant-based algorithms for robotics and logistics. In the insect world, ants are not just strong, they're strategic geniuses of construction and transportation. The chewing gum pack that changed retail forever. Imagine that the first product ever sold with a barcode was a pack of Wrigley's chewing gum. This historic event took place on June 26, 1974, in a supermarket in Ohio. This moment marked the beginning of a new era in retail, where barcodes became standard for simplifying shopping and inventory tracking. Barcodes quickly became a global standard and are still used in every store today. So the next time you buy something with a barcode, remember that it all started with a simple pack of chewing gum. Why do cat whiskers really resemble antennas? Whiskers, technically called vibrissae, are far more than decorative features on a cat's face. These thick, stiff hairs are deeply embedded in nerve-rich follicles, making them ultra-sensitive to touch, airflow, and vibration. Found not only on the muzzle but also above the eyes, on the jaw, and even on the paws, whiskers help cats navigate tight spaces, hunt in darkness, and judge distances before leaping. They detect air currents around objects, giving cats a kind of sixth sense that lets them see with touch. When stalking prey, whiskers track the slightest movements, helping cats pinpoint the exact location of a target. During a jump, they act like gyroscopic sensors, helping with last-second mid-air corrections. In essence, whiskers are natural motion detectors and navigation tools, biological radar systems that turn every cat into a precision-controlled predator. Did you know giraffes barely sleep? Giraffes are masters of the power nap. These towering creatures need only about 1 hour and 9 minutes of sleep a day, and even then, they break their sleep into short bursts, perfecting the art of napping. This remarkable adaptation shows how nature can surprise us with its creativity. Imagine how productive humans could be if we only needed 2 hours of sleep per day. Why is a group of owls called a parliament? Owls are often associated with wisdom, and perhaps that's why their collective noun is a parliament. This term is linked to ancient Greek and Roman myths, where owls symbolize knowledge and magic. The term gained popularity in English literature thanks to Chaucer's writings. Owls often gather as if they're deliberating, which resembles parliamentary meetings. These remarkable birds have keen vision and hearing, allowing them to hunt in the dark. So next time you see a group of owls, imagine them discussing the forest's most pressing matters at their owl assembly. Vending machines are more dangerous than sharks. When you go to grab a snack from a vending machine, danger probably isn't on your mind. But here's the shocker. Vending machines pose a greater threat to us than sharks. Research shows that you are more likely to be killed by a vending machine than by a shark. This startling fact reminds us that everyday objects can be surprisingly dangerous. So next time you get a snack, be careful. The real danger might just be lurking in the office or school hallway. Is it possible in the USA there is a river that flows underground for 1,000 kilometers? In the United States, under the Appalachians, lies a vast underground river system known as the Ogallala Aquifer. This subterranean river stretches for 1,000 kilometers, and its waters supply millions of people in the Midwest. Although it cannot be seen, it serves as an important source of drinking water for a huge area. Scientists warn that due to climate change and excessive water use, this unique river could dry up in the coming decades, making it even more mysterious and crucial for preservation. Why don't newborns cry tears? Newborn babies can cry, but they don't shed tears. How is that possible? Their tear glands are not fully developed. In fact, it can take several weeks for newborns to start crying with tears. So while babies can loudly express their dissatisfaction, you won't see real tears until sometime after birth. This is one of the little wonders that happen in the first weeks of a baby's life. Why was Stonehenge really built? The mystery of Stonehenge has puzzled scientists for centuries. One theory suggests it was an ancient astronomical structure used to observe celestial events. Research shows that Stonehenge was aligned with the summer and winter solstices. Another hypothesis proposes that it was a place of healing or a ritual complex. Despite numerous theories, the true purpose of this ancient monument remains a mystery. Imagine for a moment. The Sahara Desert is the largest desert on Earth. The Sahara Desert is not just a desert, it's a giant oven. Covering over 9 million square kilometers, it is the largest hot desert in the world. It spans much of North Africa, covering an area roughly the size of China or the United States. Temperatures in the Sahara can soar up to 58 degrees Celsius, about 136 degrees Fahrenheit, making it one of the hottest places on Earth. The United States boasts the largest interstate highway system in the world, facilitating fast and convenient travel across the country. Over 75,000 miles of expressways and more than 400,000 miles of other federal roads connect cities, states, and regions. Additionally, the country has the longest railway system, further enhancing the efficient transportation of goods and people. These infrastructure achievements not only support economic growth, but also provide comfort for millions of Americans, enabling free movement across the continent. This vast highway network has become a crucial element in logistics and the tourism industry, exemplifying how effectively and on a large scale transportation infrastructure can be developed. Pteronophobia, an unusual fear you might not know about. Did you know that the fear of being tickled by feathers has its own name? It's called pteronophobia, and it's characterized by an irrational fear of being tickled by feathers or even by feathers themselves. While this phobia is rare, it can cause significant stress and anxiety for those who suffer from it. This unusual fear is yet another example of how unique human fears can be and how they can impact daily life. Believe it or not, octopuses have 3 hearts and 9 brains. Octopuses aren't just extraordinarily smart, they are also built in incredibly unique ways. They have 3 hearts that pump blue blood and 9 brains, 1 central brain and 8 mini brains in each tentacle. These mini brains allow each tentacle to move independently, almost as if they have their own will. Octopuses are so unique that scientists consider them one of the most mysterious creatures on Earth. Why do fawns have no scent? When fawns are born, they have no scent. This adaptation helps them remain unnoticed by nearby predators like wolves and bears. This allows young deer to lie hidden in the grass, undetected due to their invisible presence. The mother deer returns only to feed them and then leaves again, avoiding drawing attention to her offspring. This survival strategy makes fawns true masters of camouflage in the wild. Did you know why watches in ads show 10 past 10? Most watch ads show the hands set at 10 minutes past 10. This is no accident. This position creates a visually pleasing appearance that resembles a smiling face. Additionally, this way, the hands do not obscure the company's logo, which is typically placed at the 12 o'clock position. This layout also highlights balance and symmetry, making advertising photos even more appealing. Believe it or not, an elephant's trunk is nature's Swiss Army knife. What looks like a long, flexible hose is actually one of the most advanced biological tools on Earth. An elephant's trunk is a muscular marvel composed of over 40,000 individual muscles and no bones, giving it the strength to lift logs and the finesse to pluck a single blade of grass. It serves as a snorkel when swimming, a trumpet for communication, and even a tool for delicate social gestures, like stroking another elephant's face. The tip alone is so sensitive and dexterous that it can unwrap a peanut or gently clean a baby's eyes. With a sense of smell far more powerful than a bloodhound's, the trunk can detect water sources kilometers away or sense danger on the wind. It is not just a nose, it's a multi-tool for survival, nurturing, and exploration. Evolution gave elephants a single appendage that replaces a dozen other body parts, and they use it like pros. Is it possible? Sea otters hold hands while sleeping. Sea otters are one of the most adorable animals in the ocean, and they have a heartwarming habit of holding hands while they sleep. This behavior isn't just cute, it serves a practical purpose, preventing them from drifting apart in ocean currents. By holding on to each other, they form small floating rafts, demonstrating their strong social bonds and clever ways to stay together in the ever-moving sea. Where do you think the largest Chinatowns in the world are located? They are, of course, San Francisco and Manhattan in New York City. These areas have become centers of life and culture for Chinese immigrants, featuring numerous restaurants, shops, and cultural events. New York is also known for Brighton Beach, a compact neighborhood primarily inhabited by immigrants from the former USSR. This is one of the most vibrant and culturally rich communities in the U.S., home to around 80,000 people, creating a unique atmosphere for new generations and tourists. Hard to believe, but Komodo monitors have venomous saliva. For decades, scientists believed the Komodo dragon killed through bacterial infections from its dirty mouth, but recent discoveries have revealed a far more terrifying truth. Komodos have venom glands in their jaws that release a cocktail of proteins that thin the blood, lower blood pressure, and cause shock. When a dragon bites, the toxins immediately enter the bloodstream, creating a slow death through internal bleeding and muscle breakdown. Their serrated teeth act like saws, tearing flesh and allowing the venom to flood in. This means even a short encounter can be fatal for prey, which often stumbles away before collapsing, only to be tracked down later by the Komodo's ultra-sensitive scent detection. These dragons aren't just brutal, they're chemically armed predators, blurring the line between reptile and venomous assassin. Why do people love talking about themselves? Studies show that people spend about 60% of their conversation time talking about themselves, and on social media, this number goes up to 80%. This is because people enjoy sharing their thoughts, experiences, and personal stories. Especially in the age of social media, these platforms have become spaces for self-expression and connection. This fact provides an intriguing insight into human nature, the desire for communication and recognition. How Albert Einstein inspired the character of Yoda. Did you know that the appearance of the legendary Star Wars character, Master Yoda, was partially inspired by Albert Einstein? The filmmakers used photos of the great scientist to give Yoda a wise and thoughtful look. Einstein's genius features, such as his wrinkles, pensive expression, and tired yet intelligent gaze, were the foundation for creating one of the most recognizable characters in film history. This fascinating fact shows how modern cultural icons can be linked to real geniuses of the past. The next time you watch Star Wars, remember that Yoda's wise look hides a bit of one of history's greatest scientists. Is it possible in Tokyo there is an inverted tower that goes more than 60 floors underground? The Japanese are known for their engineering ingenuity, and the inverted tower project is one of the most ambitious. This tower, unlike traditional skyscrapers, goes deep underground instead of soaring into the sky. Built in the dense urban landscape, it is an innovative solution for creating new office and living spaces in a land-scarce environment. Imagine walking down the street and below you, there's a whole underground city. Did you know that Silicon Valley in California is the world's high-tech hub? It is home to the headquarters of major companies like Google, Apple, Facebook, YouTube, and others that are shaping the future of information technology. Each year, Silicon Valley attracts thousands of startups and talented engineers, creating unparalleled conditions for innovation. Today, it has become a symbol of progress and the power of innovation, actively shaping future trends in technology, business, and media production. Is the 10,000 steps a day just a myth? We often hear that walking 10,000 steps a day is essential for good health. But did you know that this number isn't scientifically backed? The figure originated in the 1960s as part of a marketing campaign for a Japanese pedometer, whose name translates as 10,000 steps. It was simply a catchy slogan that stuck in the culture, but in reality, there is no specific scientific data that confirms that exactly 10,000 steps is the magic number. The number of steps needed to stay healthy can vary from person to person. Why do seahorses dance before mating? Seahorses perform entire rituals, dancing with their partners to form a special bond before raising offspring. These dances can last for hours, and during them, pairs swim in sync, change colors, and even hold each other by the tails. It's not just a dance, it's a true expression of affection that helps strengthen the bond between partners. In the underwater world, these dances surprise with their grace and tenderness. Wow, sunflowers follow the sun. Sunflowers are not just stunning flowers. Young sunflowers are natural sun trackers. This phenomenon, called heliotropism, allows them to turn their heads throughout the day to follow the sun's movement from east to west. This remarkable ability helps sunflowers optimize sunlight absorption for photosynthesis, boosting their growth. As they mature, they stop following the sun and permanently face east. This fascinating behavior illustrates how plants adapt to their environment to thrive. How about this? Texas is essentially a separate country within the U.S. Texas is a unique state in the U.S. with a special status. It is the only state that has the right to fly its flag alongside the national flag. Texas was an independent nation for a long time before joining the U.S. in 1845. This status persists today, making Texas distinct among all American states. Texas's de jure status serves as a reminder of its history and traditions of independence. Vultures and their cooling trick. Vultures have a unique way to stay cool in hot weather. Since they can't sweat, they've developed an alternative method. They poop on their own legs. The water in their droppings evaporates, cooling their skin. This process is called urohydrosis, and it also helps to sterilize their legs after coming into contact with decaying food. So if you ever see a vulture with white streaks on its legs, know that it's not just dirt. It's a clever way to beat the heat and keep clean. Nature certainly has its own surprises. Did you know that many championships in the U.S. are called World Championships, even though no other countries participate? For example, the World Championship of American Football is strictly an American event, featuring only U.S. teams. This approach often raises eyebrows outside the country, but within the U.S., it's seen as a tribute to the grandeur and uniqueness of local traditions. For Americans, the world is largely confined to their own country, and everything beyond its borders often seems less significant. Amazingly, oysters can change their gender. Oysters possess an incredible ability to change gender based on their needs. Throughout their lives, they may become male or female multiple times, helping them adapt to their environment and reproduce more effectively. This flexibility is crucial in habitats with varying population dynamics, where these changes can greatly influence survival. It's interesting that Italy has a failed skyscraper. In Milan, there is a skyscraper that locals call the Failure. The Pirelli building, constructed in the 1950s, became a symbol of architectural failure, constantly requiring repairs due to design flaws. Despite its modern shape, the building became an object of mockery, but over time, it transformed into one of the city's iconic landmarks thanks to its unusual fate. Who would have thought that jellyfish are 95% water? Jellyfish are almost ethereal in appearance, and no wonder, 95% of their bodies are made of water. This high water content allows them to float gracefully through the ocean, moving with the currents as if weightless. Despite their simple structure, Jellyfish have existed for hundreds of millions of years, perfectly adapted to life in the ocean. Their delicate, watery forms remind us of the fragility and beauty of marine ecosystems. Imagine for a moment that the narwhal's tusk is real. It looks like fantasy, but the narwhal's iconic spiral tusk is no mythical horn. It's a real sensory organ with astonishing function. This 3-meter-long tooth, emerging from the upper left jaw of most males, contains millions of nerve endings and is sensitive enough to detect changes in water temperature, salinity, and pressure. Scientists believe narwhals use it like a sonar antenna, guiding them through the Arctic's icy labyrinths. They've even observed tusking behavior, narwhals rubbing tusks together in what may be a form of communication or dominance display. Some cultures once believed these tusks came from unicorns. Today we know they're instruments of biological elegance and precision, part weapon, part sensor, part symbol. The narwhal's tusk is one of the most fascinating natural adaptations in the marine world. Surprisingly, some snakes have vestigial legs. Yes, certain snake species like boas and pythons still possess tiny vestigial legs called spurs near their tails. These remnants are the evolutionary leftovers from when snakes' ancestors had fully formed limbs millions of years ago. Over time, as snakes adapted to a slithering lifestyle, they lost the need for legs. But these little spurs remain as a fascinating window into the ancient past of these reptiles. It's like carrying a little piece of history on their bodies, reminding us that evolution is full of surprises. Did you know that the world's longest hair measures over 18 feet? A Chinese woman named Shi Kuping holds the Guinness World Record for the longest hair, which measures a staggering 5.62 meters. That's about 18 feet and 5 inches. She began growing her hair at the age of 13 in 1973 and hasn't cut it since. Taking care of such long hair is no easy task. She spends hours every week washing it and at least 2 hours just combing it. Sometimes she braids her hair or wraps it around herself to make moving easier. This record has remained unbeatable for decades. Is it true that time flows differently in space? Yes, and it's due to Einstein's theory of relativity. The faster you move or the closer you are to an object with a strong gravitational field, the slower time passes for you relative to the rest of the universe. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station literally age more slowly because they're moving at high speeds. This phenomenon is called gravitational time dilation. Believe it or not, the world's smallest snake is less than 10 centimeters long. The Barbados thread snake is a true marvel of nature. This snake holds the title of the world's smallest, living on the beautiful Caribbean island of Barbados. It grows to just under 10 centimeters in length and weighs about 0.6 of a gram, which is around 0.02 of an ounce. This tiny snake feeds on termites and ant larvae, and its eggs are sometimes larger than the snake itself. With its blunt head and toothless mouth, this miniature serpent shows just how diverse and fascinating the animal kingdom is. Who would have thought that China has entire ghost cities? In China, there are cities built for millions of people, but they remain almost empty. For example, Ordos is a city designed for 1 million residents, but in reality, only a few thousand people live there. These are huge quarters with skyscrapers that have never been inhabited. The reasons for this disappearance of people are not entirely clear, making these ghost cities a real mystery for urban researchers. Believe it or not, hyenas laugh not out of joy. The iconic cackling of the spotted hyena may sound like comedy, but it's actually one of the most complex vocal communication systems in the mammalian world. Each laugh, giggle, or whoop encodes vital social information, age, sex, emotional state, and even rank within the clan hierarchy. These vocalizations signal submission during feeding disputes, summon allies during a hunt, and issue warnings about territorial intrusions. Scientists have cataloged over 30 distinct call types, each used in specific contexts. What's more, the intensity and frequency of a hyena's laugh can reveal how hungry or stressed it is. In cooperative hunts, vocal cues help coordinate ambushes and flanking maneuvers. Far from being aimless noise, hyena laughter is structured, meaningful, and essential to the social fabric of their cunning, female-dominated societies. Believe it or not, the United States managed to connect two oceans. Have you ever thought about how the U.S. managed to connect two oceans and control a critical global trade route? In fact, at the beginning of the 20th century, they waged war against Spain to acquire strategically important territories and construct the Panama Canal. This canal is not just a vital transportation artery, it is also a means of ensuring military and trade power across both oceans. The canal became a key element in U.S. national security and opened up opportunities for trade and military control in the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. Hard to believe, but sea cucumbers sacrifice organs to survive. When danger strikes, the sea cucumber doesn't fight, it self-destructs. In a process called evisceration, this soft-bodied marine animal ejects its intestines, respiratory organs, and sometimes even its reproductive tissues through its anus, distracting predators with a slimy, sticky mess. But this isn't suicidal, it's strategic. The predator is left with a bizarre meal, and the cucumber crawls away, relatively unharmed. Within weeks, it regenerates its lost organs completely, a process that fascinates scientists studying human tissue repair and organ regeneration. This act of sacrificial defense is a remarkable example of how vulnerability can become survival. What looks like destruction is, in fact, controlled, calculated regeneration. Proof that nature sometimes wins by giving something up. Did you know that boxfish wear armor like real tanks? Boxfish, members of the family Ostracidae, are nature's aquatic tanks. Instead of flexible skin or scales, they're encased in a rigid, bony exoskeleton made of interlocking hexagonal plates that form a hard, box-like shell. This armor makes them nearly immune to bites and scrapes, especially in rough reef environments. Though their shape limits speed, it adds incredible stability, allowing them to make precise, slow maneuvers through coral. Some species even excrete a milky, toxic mucus when stressed, deterring predators with both chemical and visual warnings. Bright patterns on their bodies serve as aposematic signals, further discouraging attacks. Engineers study boxfish for their biomechanics, using their body shape to inspire designs in automobile and underwater robotics. In the evolutionary trade-off between speed and safety, the boxfish proves that armored resilience can sometimes be the winning strategy. The most expensive painting ever sold went for hundreds of millions. In 2017, Leonardo da Vinci's painting, Salvator Mundi, Savior of the World, was sold at auction for an astonishing $450 million. This masterpiece was long considered lost until it was rediscovered in the 20th century. Even after its discovery, debates over its authenticity continued. Many wondered if it was truly painted by Leonardo himself. Nevertheless, its sale made history, turning Salvator Mundi into the most sought-after art piece in the world. Is it true that most dust is dead skin? Imagine that every day you shed millions of skin cells that turn into dust in your home. Dead skin cells make up a significant portion of household dust, along with clothing fibers, hair, and pollen. On average, a person loses about 200 million skin cells every hour. Of course, this doesn't sound very pleasant, but nature has designed your skin to constantly renew itself. In fact, one of the oils on your skin, squalene, helps reduce the harmful effects of ozone in the air, making your skin's microbiome a true protector of your environment. So the next time you're wiping down dust, remember, you're essentially cleaning away your yesterday cells that have already served their purpose. Amazing how the body continually renews itself and maintains balance with the environment. Is it possible? Paper can be stronger than steel. Special technologies can create what is known as paper armor, which when treated properly becomes stronger than steel. For example, Japanese washi paper, used in some bulletproof vests, can withstand impacts that ordinary paper couldn't handle. This paper is treated with resins and layered, making it incredibly durable. Amazingly, paper can be used for protection, just like metal, thanks to these technologies. Did you know that kangaroos have a spare pregnancy? Kangaroos have an amazing ability that's truly astonishing. Female kangaroos can delay the development of an embryo for several months if the conditions aren't favorable for the birth of a joey. This process is called embryonic diapause. Imagine that a kangaroo can literally put its pregnancy on hold if it's already caring for a young joey, or if there isn't enough food. When conditions improve, the embryo continues its development. This biological marvel helps kangaroos survive in Australia's harsh and unpredictable climate. How does Germany successfully run a crocodile farm? At the crocodile farm in Saarland Zoo, more than 100 crocodiles live comfortably, even in Germany's harsh climate. This zoo is equipped with water heating systems that create ideal conditions for these exotic reptiles. Despite the cold winters, the crocodiles act as if they're in the tropics. Tourists can even watch them lazily swim or feed, making this one of the region's main attractions. Did you know that in China there is a living bridge entirely made from tree roots? In China's Guizhou province, there is a unique bridge created not by humans but by nature itself. Local villagers directed the growth of tree roots in such a way that they formed a sturdy bridge capable of holding the weight of several people. This process took decades, and now the bridge has become a symbol of harmony between people and nature. Scientists consider it one of the most outstanding examples of natural architecture, and it is still used by locals to cross rivers and streams. Believe it or not, America is behind every economic miracle in other countries. After World War II, the U.S. began investing in the recovery and development of other nations, leading to economic wonders in Japan, Germany, South Korea, and China. In Japan, the U.S. transferred technology. In Germany, they provided financial aid and protection. South Korea was integrated into the global economy, and China received significant investment. Today, the U.S. remains the primary buyer of goods from these countries, despite China's rise as a leading economic partner. This approach not only created strong economic allies for the U.S., but also secured a strategic advantage in the world. Did you know that control over technology is a key lever of power for the United States? For decades, the U.S. has remained a global leader in technology, not necessarily by inventing everything themselves, but by controlling the dissemination and use of innovations. Every year, between 350 and 1,000 new patents are registered worldwide, and half of them are American. In contrast, Russia consistently registers a number of patents on par with Brazil or Liechtenstein. In 2021, the U.S. registered 178,000 patents, while Russia registered only 220. This control over technology has become crucial for the future economic leadership of the U.S., as new technologies significantly enhance productivity, and the U.S. continues to be the main center for such developments. How would you react if you found out that the U.S. military funds most of the world's technology? The model by which the U.S. military finances technological developments has been known since the 1960s, when they began supporting the creation of microchips and the internet, initially aimed at protecting against nuclear strikes. These technologies were later adapted by entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, becoming the foundation for commercial products that are now in every home and even in every hand in the form of smartphones. Military funding has sparked many technological revolutions, illustrating how military support and innovation go hand in hand with economic development. Did you know that Great Britain was not always an island? Great Britain is an island nation that comprises 4 countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. However, it wasn't always an island. About 88,000 years ago, before the Ice Age, the land that is now Great Britain was part of the continent. It was only after rising sea levels separated the land that Great Britain became an island. This process was a result of climate change and altered the entire geography of the region. Did you know the world's oldest message in a bottle was found after more than a century? In 2018, a bottle washed ashore on a beach in Western Australia containing a message tossed into the Indian Ocean by a German ship in 1886. This message had traveled through the seas for an incredible 132 years before being discovered. Talk about slow and steady mail service. It's a fascinating glimpse into the past, connecting us with a different era. Imagine a flight that lasts only 53 seconds. The shortest commercial flight in the world connects 2 Scottish islands, Westray and Papa Westray. This flight covers just 1.5 miles and lasts less than a minute, only 53 seconds. By the time you buckle your seatbelt, the plane is already preparing to land. It's probably the quickest and shortest way to travel that you can imagine. If you ever find yourself on this flight, you won't even notice its start and finish. Octopuses are the interior designers of the ocean you never knew about. Octopuses aren't just smart, they are also the artists of the underwater world. These fascinating creatures love collecting shiny shells, stones, and other treasures to decorate their underwater homes. They create underwater gardens around their dens, meticulously arranging everything. This shows not only their survival skills, but also their sense of artistry. Their homes are not just beautiful, but also designed to protect them from predators and attract the attention of other octopuses. Who would have thought that these sea creatures had such a talent for interior design? Horsepower. More than just a name. Did you know that a horse can produce a lot more than just 1 horsepower? The term was coined by Scottish engineer James Watt to compare the power of steam engines to the strength of a horse. It turns out that a single horse can actually generate a maximum output of up to 18,000 watts, which is roughly equivalent to 24 horsepower. This number depends on factors like the horse's size, breed, and physical condition. While we often use this unit to measure cars and machinery, its origins tie us back to the era of steam engines and the Industrial Revolution. Just imagine for a second, a sloth carrying a living garden. Sloths are so slow that algae, fungi, and even tiny insects take up residence in their fur, turning them into mobile rainforests. The algae not only provide camouflage, but may also offer nutrients absorbed through the skin. In return, the sloth's fur offers a moist, stable microclimate. Certain species of moths live only in sloth fur, laying their eggs in the sloth's dung. It's an ecosystem in miniature, a green cloak that hides the sloth from predators and supports a network of life. Biologists have found novel antibiotic-producing fungi in this furry habitat, organisms unknown anywhere else on Earth. So when you see a sloth, don't just think lazy, think life-giving. This slow, deliberate creature wears an entire biosphere on its back, blending biology and ecology in one of nature's most unexpected symbioses. How would you react if you found out there is an underwater museum in Greece? In the Aegean Sea near the coast of Greece, there is a unique underwater museum. This archaeological site allows visitors to dive with scuba gear and explore ancient shipwrecks and artifacts lying on the seabed. It is the first underwater museum of its scale and attracts both history enthusiasts and divers from around the world. Did you know your brain consumes 20% of your body's energy? Despite accounting for only 2% of your body weight, the brain consumes a whopping 20% of all the energy your body produces. This means that every time you think hard or solve complex tasks, your brain is working like an energy-hungry organ. Next time you feel mentally exhausted, remember, your brain is truly burning calories as if it's training for a marathon. Why are honey mushrooms considered the largest living organisms on the planet? In the forests of Oregon, there is one of the largest organisms on Earth, the honey fungus Armillaria ostoya. This fungus covers an area of over 9 square kilometers and has been growing for thousands of years. Underground, it forms giant mycelial networks that connect trees and other plants. Above ground, it may look like just a few mushrooms, but beneath the surface lies an enormous network rivaling the size of large cities. This one fact flips the whole story about chameleon color change. Most people think chameleons change color just for camouflage, but that's only part of the story. These lizards use color to communicate mood, temperature, and social signals. When cold, they darken to absorb heat. When hot, they pale to reflect sunlight. A male flashes bright colors to impress a mate or challenge a rival. This isn't pigment shuffling, it's nanotechnology. Tiny crystals in their skin reflect specific wavelengths of light depending on their spacing. Nerve signals alter these distances in milliseconds, giving chameleons full control of their personal color display. It's camouflage, yes, but also language, emotion, and thermoregulation rolled into one. Every color shift tells a story, making these creatures living, flashing billboards of reptilian expression. It's hard to believe, but it's true. Brits talk about the weather more than anything else. According to a study, 94% of Brits have talked about the weather at least once in the last 6 hours, and 38% reported discussing it in the last hour. This is due to the frequently changing weather in the UK, where rainy conditions are the norm. On average, there are 130 rainy days a year in Britain, prompting locals to always discuss what's happening outside. So don't be surprised if, upon meeting a Brit, the first question is about the weather. Did you know that bats can see with sound? While many creatures rely on vision, bats have mastered a different sense, echolocation, to thrive in complete darkness. They emit high-frequency sound waves, usually beyond human hearing, which bounce off nearby objects. By measuring the time delay and frequency shift of the returning echoes, bats construct a mental map of their surroundings with extraordinary precision. Some species process more than 100 echoes per second, adjusting their wing beats and flight path in real time to track even the tiniest insect midair. Their brains are wired to convert sound into spatial imagery, essentially allowing them to see with their ears. This remarkable adaptation has evolved independently in different bat families, showcasing nature's ingenuity. Throughout history, bats have been wrapped in myth, seen as omens or vampires. But in reality, they are marvels of bioacoustics and a source of inspiration for modern sonar and radar technologies. Could it be possible? The pyramids of Giza were once colorful. When the pyramids of Giza were first built, their surfaces were covered with smooth white limestone slabs, which reflected sunlight and made them appear bright and sparkling. At the top, there was likely a golden pyramidion, giving the pyramid a dazzling look. Over time, the white stone eroded, and the pyramids became what we see today, stark but still majestic. Have you ever wondered why meerkats post lookouts? In the scorching deserts of southern Africa, meerkats thrive through exceptional teamwork. One of their most striking behaviors is the use of sentinels, individuals that stand guard while others forage. From elevated perches like rocks or termite mounds, the sentry scans for threats, predators such as jackals, snakes, or hawks. If danger approaches, the lookout emits specific alarm calls that vary in pitch and rhythm, depending on the type and urgency of the threat. These alarm signals prompt the rest of the group to dive into burrows or freeze in place. Roles rotate every 10-15 minutes to prevent fatigue and ensure fairness. This system is so precise, it has been likened to a military watch shift. In San folklore, meerkats are symbols of vigilance and community, embodying survival through unity. Their complex social structure rivals that of primates and offers profound insight into cooperative evolution. Did you know that the pale blue dot is a photo of Earth taken from 6 billion kilometers away? This iconic image of our planet was captured by the Voyager 1 spacecraft in 1990 from a distance of 3.7 billion miles, or 6 billion kilometers. In the photo, Earth appears as a tiny, barely visible dot in the vast expanse of space. It reminds us of how small and vulnerable our planet is in the grand scale of the universe, prompting reflection on our place in the world. Believe it or not, the world's smallest island is only a few square meters. Bishop Rock, located in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of England, holds the title of the world's smallest island. Its area is only 8/1000ths of a square kilometer, just 3/1000ths of a square mile. Despite its tiny size, the island boasts a lighthouse and is the most westerly point of England. It's officially recognized in the Guinness World Records as the smallest inhabited island, proving that even the smallest piece of land can be home to something remarkable. Can you handle the heat of the world's spiciest chili pepper? The Carolina Reaper, bred by farmer Ed Curry in South Carolina, USA, holds the record for being the hottest pepper in the world with a Scoville rating of 1,600,000 units. That makes it 640 times hotter than a jalapeno. Its wrinkled red skin may look harmless, but consuming it can cause intense pain, sweating, and even vomiting. This is one fiery adventure that only the bravest dare to taste. Did you know that penguins swallow stones? These tuxedo-wearing wonders not only excel at swimming, but also have an unusual habit of swallowing small stones. Penguins ingest pebbles to help them digest food more efficiently, using the stones to grind up food in their stomachs, much like birds use gravel. In addition, these stones provide extra weight, allowing penguins to dive deeper in search of fish. This clever adaptation turns penguins into expert divers and makes them even more fascinating. This might sound crazy, but butterflies migrate across generations. Monarch butterflies undertake one of the most epic and mysterious migrations in nature, traveling up to 4,000 kilometers from North America to central Mexico. But here's the twist. No single butterfly completes the round trip. It takes 3 to 4 generations, with each offspring continuing the journey their ancestors started. The final generation, known as the Methuselah generation, lives up to 8 months, unlike the usual few weeks, to make the long return flight northward. Scientists are still unraveling how these butterflies navigate using the sun, Earth's magnetic field, and genetic memory. Ancient Mesoamerican cultures saw monarchs as the returning souls of ancestors, especially around the Day of the Dead. With climate change threatening their habitats, monarchs are not just beautiful, they're vital indicators of ecological health and resilience. Their migration is a relay of life, memory, and survival. Can you believe the world's smallest monkey weighs only 100 grams? The pygmy marmoset, native to the Amazon rainforest, is the world's tiniest monkey, measuring only 15 centimeters in length and weighing just 100 grams. These miniature primates have big eyes, a long tail, and live in family groups of up to 9 members. They survive by feeding on tree sap, insects, and fruit. Despite their small size, these tiny monkeys are full of life and energy. Vatican City, the smallest country in the world. Vatican City is an independent city-state located within Rome, Italy, and it covers an area of just about 0.49 square kilometers, making it the smallest country in the world. Despite its modest size, the Vatican is a significant center of the Catholic Church and home to many renowned historical sites like St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel. Its population is around 800 people, making it not only the smallest by area, but also one of the least populated states in the world. Turns out Che Guevara was a medical student. Before becoming one of the most influential figures in revolutionary history, Ernesto Che Guevara was studying medicine in Buenos Aires. In his youth, he was filled with a desire to help people, and his medical knowledge later helped him as he became a symbol of the fight for freedom. Who would have thought that a medical student would one day become an icon of world revolution? His drive for justice manifested even in his pursuit to heal people, whether physically or politically. Did you know penguins can drink seawater? Penguins are true survival experts in the ocean. Unlike many other animals, they can drink seawater without any problem. How do they do it? It's all thanks to a special gland above their eyes that filters out the salt from the water. This natural filter allows penguins to use ocean water for hydration, turning it into drinkable water. Imagine penguins drink salt water as if it were a refreshing drink, while other animals have to search for fresh water. Their unique ability to drink seawater is yet another example of how ingenious nature can be. How about this? There are road maps for astronauts on the moon. During the Apollo missions, special markings were made on the moon's surface to help astronauts navigate. These markers included lines and even arrows pointing in specific directions. In an environment where horizontal landmarks are not obvious and visibility is limited, these markers were crucial. Although the moon seems empty, these hidden details help future missions avoid getting lost and allow better exploration of Earth's satellite. What if I told you the world's largest book weighs over 150 kilograms? The world's largest book, the Clenky Atlas, is housed in the British Library in London. This massive tome measures 1.75 meters tall and 1.90 meters wide, making it a true heavyweight in the literary world. Weighing in at 150 kilograms, it's almost impossible to lift without help. Despite its size, this giant atlas is not just a record holder, but a treasure trove of geography and history for book lovers. Did you know that an atomic bomb almost destroyed North Carolina? In 1961, the U.S. Air Force accidentally dropped 2 atomic bombs over North Carolina. One of them went through 5 stages of activation, and only the last step didn't trigger, saving the state from a nuclear catastrophe. Both incidents happened due to issues with the aircraft. This tragedy, which could have changed history, shows just how close we sometimes come to global disaster. Have you ever stopped to think that computers were women? Before machines took over, computers were people, often women, who manually calculated everything from artillery trajectories to satellite orbits. In the 1940s and 50s, NASA's space missions relied on these brilliant women to crunch the math by hand. Katherine Johnson, a black mathematician at NASA, calculated flight paths that sent John Glenn into orbit and helped land Apollo 11 on the moon. These women worked tirelessly, often underpaid and invisible, solving equations that no computer could yet handle. Their legacy was long overlooked, but now it's recognized as the backbone of space exploration. Their brains launched rockets, and their courage launched change in science, gender roles, and history. They weren't just part of the space race, they were the engines behind it. Peanuts aren't nuts, they're legumes. You might be surprised to learn that, botanically speaking, peanuts aren't actually nuts. Peanuts belong to the legume family, like peas, beans, and lentils. Unlike true nuts, such as walnuts and almonds, peanuts grow underground and don't have a hard shell enclosing a single seed. A nut, in botanical terms, is a dry fruit with a hard shell, but peanuts don't fit that definition. Even though we often think of them as nuts, they're technically closer to peas and beans, but with a unique taste all their own. How do you think the famous alien footsteps sound was made? One of the most memorable sounds in film is the footsteps of the alien from the iconic movie E.T. But how was it created? The answer will surprise you. This unique sound was made using regular jelly. Sound designers simply squished their hands in jelly to imitate the sticky footsteps of the alien. This fact showcases the brilliance and creativity of sound engineers who turn everyday items into amazing sound effects. Now, the next time you watch the movie, you won't be able to hear the alien's footsteps without a smile, knowing their jelly origin. Thumbs have their own pulse. Have you ever wondered why people check their pulse using their index and middle fingers instead of their thumbs? It's because your thumb has its own pulse. Each thumb is supplied with blood by the radial artery, which runs along the wrist on the thumb side. This artery is so strong that you can feel its pulse when you touch it. That's why it's recommended to avoid using your thumb when taking a pulse, to prevent mixing up its pulse with your actual heartbeat. Now you know that even your thumb has its own little heartbeat. Our genome. 3.2 billion pairs of DNA, and they are all key to our uniqueness. Imagine that your entire uniqueness is encoded in a sequence of 3.2 billion pairs of DNA bases. That's how many pairs make up the human genome. This genetic code determines everything from the color of your eyes to your predisposition to certain diseases. Each of us is the result of a combination of these pairs, which are passed down from generation to generation. Despite all the complexity and amount of information, our genome is incredibly well organized. It's like an instruction manual for assembling our body, holding the secrets of our health, appearance, and even personality. Is it true that counterfeiting has existed since the inception of coins? Counterfeiting emerged simultaneously with the first coins. Ancient fraudsters began to chip away at the edges of coins to create new ones, thereby diminishing their value. To counteract this, coins started to feature special edges, reading, making counterfeiting more difficult. Despite these measures, counterfeiting remains a relevant issue in various countries today. Did you know that Big Ben is not a clock? Actually, Big Ben is not the name of the clock or the tower, but the bell inside the clock tower. Its full name is the Great Bell of Westminster, but people simply call it Big Ben. It chimes every hour, creating a melody heard by Londoners and visitors alike. It's one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world, and now you know the real story behind the name. Magirocophobia. Fear of cooking is real. Magirocophobia goes far beyond just not wanting to cook. It's a deep-rooted fear that can grip someone at the mere thought of turning on the stove. Imagine standing in a kitchen, surrounded by pots and pans, and feeling a wave of terror, like you're in a haunted house. It's not about being bad at cooking, it's the fear that keeps people away. Not all scary things hide in closets. Some are lurking in your cookbook. Tardigrades, survival masters of extreme conditions. These microscopic creatures, also known as water bears, can survive in places where other organisms would perish. Tardigrades can endure freezing temperatures as low as -270 degrees Celsius, boiling heat, radiation, and even the vacuum of space. In extreme conditions, they enter a state called cryptobiosis, where their metabolism nearly stops, turning them into something like a time capsule. In this state, they can survive without water or food for decades. These fascinating creatures inspire scientists to explore new frontiers, and one day, they might even help humans conquer other planets. Why can rivers in Iceland change their direction? Iceland is a country known for its unusual natural phenomena, and rivers here can unexpectedly change their direction. This happens due to volcanic activity under glaciers. When magma heats the ice, massive amounts of meltwater form underground rivers that change course depending on the pressure and movement of the ice. As a result, a river can flow in the opposite direction within just a few days, leaving residents and tourists puzzled. Can you imagine that bananas are actually berries? Despite their shape and size, bananas are, botanically speaking, berries. It all comes down to how they develop from a flower. But here's the twist. Strawberries, which we often think of as berries, technically aren't. Although bananas look more like a fruit, their internal structure and growth process mark them as true berries. So, next time you enjoy a banana, remember you're eating a bona fide berry. Believe it or not, the FBI had a Bigfoot file. In the 1970s, the FBI opened a real investigation into Bigfoot. Yes, the mythical ape-like creature of North American folklore. They received over 20,000 letters from citizens submitting hair samples, footprints, and blurry photos. One sample sent by a cryptozoologist from the Pacific Northwest prompted the FBI to conduct actual lab tests. Though the hair turned out to belong to a deer, the case was filed officially under cryptid reports and stored alongside UFO dossiers. The documents, declassified decades later, show how the agency took public concern seriously, even when it leaned toward the extraordinary. While Bigfoot remains elusive, his case file lives on as a quirky chapter in American science and skepticism. Sometimes even the most rational institutions indulge in a little monster hunting. Can you imagine that it rains diamonds on Neptune? It sounds like science fiction, but scientists are convinced that Neptune experiences diamond rain. Due to the immense pressure and extreme temperatures, methane in Neptune's atmosphere transforms into diamonds that literally fall from the sky. Imagine a world where precious jewels are as common as raindrops, a luxurious storm that any jeweler would dream of witnessing. Why can you hear bridges in Italy? In Venice, some ancient bridges literally sing due to vibrations. In certain spots, plates are installed to create sounds when people walk on them. The effect is caused by resonance and the unique construction of the bridges. On a quiet night when the city sleeps, the bridges become musical instruments, played by tourists rather than musicians. These sounds give Venice a distinctive charm, echoing the city's long history. Superfetation. Is it possible to get pregnant while already pregnant? Could it really be true? It turns out, yes. Superfetation is a rare medical phenomenon in which a woman can get pregnant while already being pregnant. This occurs when ovulation continues even after conception, which typically doesn't happen as the body halts the ovulation cycle after pregnancy begins. As a result of this rare condition, a woman can carry two embryos of different ages simultaneously. Though extremely rare in humans, this phenomenon occurs more frequently in the animal kingdom, especially in certain species of fish and mammals. It's amazing but true. The human body is full of surprises, and sometimes nature can break its own rules. Did you know that ants never sleep? Ants are the real workaholics of the insect world. These amazing tiny creatures seem like they are non-stop working machines, constantly on the go, without ever pausing to rest. But the truth is, ants don't sleep the way we do. Instead, they take short breaks throughout the day to recharge their energy. Their remarkable strength and impressive teamwork make them one of the most successful and efficient species on Earth. It's truly mind-blowing when you realize just how resilient they are. Can you imagine that the Tianzi Mountains in China inspired fantasy films? Located in Hunan province, the Tianzi Mountains are famous for their unique peaks that seem to have grown out of the earth, creating an atmosphere reminiscent of scenes from science fiction movies. These mountains served as inspiration for the creators of the film Avatar and are considered one of China's most incredible natural wonders. For tourists, cable cars have been built that provide breathtaking views of these peculiar rock formations. Why do owls have asymmetrical ears? Owls are not only known for their sharp eyes, but also for their unique ears, which are placed asymmetrically on their heads. This unusual arrangement allows them to pick up sounds in 3 dimensions, pinpointing the location of prey, even if it's hidden under a layer of snow or leaves. This special auditory adaptation makes owls masters of nighttime hunting, capable of seeing the world through sounds. It explains why they are so successful as nocturnal predators. Imagine for them, every rustle is like a flash of light in the dark. It's interesting that Tokyo has no street addresses. In Tokyo, addresses are assigned not to streets but to buildings, which is very unusual for a large city. Buildings are numbered in order of construction, not by their location on a street. This means finding the right address for the first time can be challenging if you're not familiar with the area. Instead of streets, residents and visitors orient themselves by metro stations and districts, giving Tokyo a unique charm and character.